Georges Méliès, that marvellous magician of the first pioneering decade of the cinema, made many wonders for the screen, perhaps most notably A Trip to the Moon. And amongst all his wonders, there is one that appears to lack the whimsy of perhaps something like A Trip to the Moon. This was his 1908 film, La Civilisation à travers les âges, Humanity Through the Ages, and its view of humanity through the ages is somewhat bleak. It begins with Cain killing Abel, a biblical tableau of the first crime. Then we jump ahead to 500 BC, and we are under the dim oak groves of Brittany, where druids are making human sacrifices. Then we jump forward to the time of Nero, where he and Locusta are poisoning a slave for their own viewing pleasure. Then, keeping in Rome, this time to 200 AD, we see Christians sheltering in the catacombs, where they are then rounded up and forced to fight wild beasts in the Colosseum. The 5th and 6th chapter depict public punishments, again people deriving pleasure from other people's pain. The 7th chapter of the film was the tortures of the Spanish Inquisition in the 1490s. Then we jump forward a little ways to the 1620s, where a ruffian is robbing a victim in the street. The 9th chapter of his film reaches almost the modern day. It is 1906, and there is a street fight occurring in a modern city which is interrupted by the police. Next, we have the Hague Peace Conference of 1907. Peace in theory, but in practice, once the prospect of disarmament begins to be discussed, the participants of this peace conference, well, it all descends into a undignified scuffle. The 11th and final chapter of the film depicts the triumph of peace conferences. The angel of destruction looming over a landscape scattered with wounded and dead soldiers. It's a very bleak view of humanity, but it is interesting to note that Méliès' son, André, reported that this was one of his father's favourite films, or at least proudest achievements. Let's not leave this video on quite such a bleak note as Méliès left his film, and instead I will add a note of optimism. As I'm speaking, a Méliès film, one from 1897, was rediscovered in America and is digitised and now available to watch online. So, will Humanity Through the Ages be rediscovered? Perhaps, but until then, we have many of Méliès' works to enjoy.